Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. Today's episode is Bleach, Soul Society, The Rescue Arc, episode 47, The Avengers. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened in the episode. So, in this episode, we start with Hinamori escaping her cell, which is kind of a redo because we did see that in the last episode as well. And we see her running through Soul Society on her mission before we then move into a scene of a younger Matsumoto being saved by Gin from starving, where he says, if you're starving, then you must have power. I have power too. And it's revealed that Matsumoto and Gin were classmates, and Hinamori would be their junior as they went through the Shinigami school ahead of the other group. And then Matsumoto wakes up, Hitsugaya is doing paperwork, and it's revealed that he took on the additional work of the 5th squad in addition to his own squad as far as the paperwork is concerned. And then there's a knock on the door, and it is revealed that everybody escaped prison. Renji's not in prison anymore. Kira's not in prison anymore. Hinamori's not in prison anymore. Basically, the only person who is where they left them is Rukia. Everybody else decided to just walk out of prison. And so Hitsugaya obviously believes Hinamori is going to go after Gin. Why else would she have escaped? And then he reveals that he didn't even seal her into the prison because he didn't think she would go that far. Like, I don't know how, but either way. He then goes to hunt for Gin to try to get to Gin first before Hinamori attacks him. And he does get to Gin, and he goes to attack him, having revealed that Gin is actually the one who took Kira out of prison purposefully. So Kira didn't actually escape. He was let out by his captain, which, as I've said in past episodes, I don't even know why he was in prison in the first place, because as far as I could see, all he did was try to stop Hinamori from making a major mistake and defend his captain, who, as a lieutenant, he should do. But again, that's just my... I have no idea why he was in prison in the first place. But either way, he's been let out by Gin. Hitsugaya confronts Gin for killing Aizen. However, then Hinamori arrives, and instead of attacking Gin, she attacks Hitsugaya and basically reveals that Aizen's letter that he left, which is Aizen's handwriting, states that Hitsugaya is the one Aizen thought was plotting against the Court of Pure Souls, and that it was Hitsugaya who he was going to meet with, and therefore Hitsugaya who has killed him if she's reading that letter. And Hitsugaya, of course, is completely confused because he gave her that letter and he did not meet with Aizen according to him and everything. And then he flashes back to when Gin and Aizen were crossing paths and he happened to be to the side of them, and they had a conversation, and Gin mentioned that, you know, he better listen well to the alarm because it's the last alarm he's going to be hearing. He said to Aizen, and Hitsugaya overheard this, so Hitsugaya is very sure it's Gin, so he still tries to attack Gin, but then Hinamori gets between them, and Hinamori ends up being knocked out of the way, and Yin and Hitsugaya are gearing up for another fight, but that's where the episode ends. Meanwhile, while all of this is happening, Ichigo is continuing his Bankai training. And that was the episode. So now it's time to rank the episode. We'll rank on our mostly objective ranking list first, followed by the personal ranking list. So to start with, we have +3 points for our supporting character development. And that is Matsumoto and Gin having a past where he saved her, and the revelation that they are classmates. And then we also, worth another 3 points, get some backstory about Kisuke Urahara, where we learn from Yoruichi while she and Ichigo are in a hot spring, resting after the first day of training, that he is the former captain of Squad 12 and the founder and first chief of the Technological Development Bureau in Soul Society, and that he was formerly a Shinigami, one of obviously renown and high standing. And then we have 4 points, and this is for world building. And there's a couple of world building pieces that I kind of lumped together. So the first one is we learn more about Sokyo Sokyoku, which is the weapon that is going to be used to execute Rukia, how it apparently has the power of 1,000,000 Zanpakuto, which is even higher when executing, and that the reason that Aizen was believing someone was targeting the Court of Pure Souls and why he believed Rukia was being executed and why that time was moved up from the norm is that someone was targeting to steal Sokyoku during the execution, and he believed that person to be Hitsugaya. That was what was in the letter. And the second piece is more minor, which is the fact that the underground training area where Ichigo is learning about the Bankai is what the training room back in the living world under Urahara's shop was based on, and that Yoruichi and Urahara built it together in their youth and used it for training. And the hot spring within that training area does have healing properties. And then we have our negative messaging or behavior, which was just a -2. And again, I kind of lumped a couple things together into the 2 points. First, we of course have Hitsugaya being framed. But the reason I'm lumping that one in instead of counting it separately is because, well, it hasn't been fully revealed that he's framed. We only know he's framed because it's a rewatch. At this point, if it was your first time through, you may or may not believe it, but either way, I don't think it's good to frame people, so I wanted to mention it. And then the other negative messaging or behavior, some people may not necessarily think it's negative messaging, but I think blind loyalty, the inability to see someone's faults, the inability to see past your loyalty to logical conclusions or somebody's true self, it's blinding and it is not a good trait in my opinion. Like loyalty, yes, but let's not be blind about our loyalty. Like in this case, Hinamori is so blindly loyal to Aizen that despite having known Hitsugaya even before she ever met Aizen, which we found out in the last episode, Hinamori and Hitsugaya lived together before they even started Shinigami training. They had a great relationship with each other. They've known each other all this time. Hitsugaya is definitely favoring her kind of excessively and absurdly throughout this, like arresting Kira because he dared to defend against her. Like, hello. Um, and even like when she's trying to attack him, he's like, or he's going to attack his fellow captain for her without even like trying to stop her. Just, okay, I'm going to get there first and do your dirty work for you. I'm going to arrest the person of, like, he even mentions that he's going to save Hinamori, and I just couldn't help thinking, you don't need to save her. She's the one off the rails. You need to get her therapy and intervention. Like, instead of maybe, attacking a bunch of other people or imprisonating other people, maybe get her some help because she's the one off the rails. She's the one absolutely crazy. She's the one not thinking straight. But Hitsugaya is so blindly loyal to Hinamori, he can't see her flaws, therefore he is blaming everybody else. Meanwhile, Hinamori is so blindly loyal to Aizen that she's even willing to go up against and attack someone that she knew first, that she's had a good relationship with, that she should know wouldn't have done that based on the words in a letter from Aizen. Like, it's to the point where it's like, seriously, can we stop, take a second, and actually think through our actions and like come to some sort of logical conclusion? Like, why are we all just blindly rushing in? And it's all due to like that blind loyalty that they have, and it's just so frustrating as somebody who's watching. And like I said, loyalty itself is a positive thing. But when you're so loyal that you're blind to flaws, blind to truth, blind to logic, at that point it becomes a big negative. And I feel like both Hitsugaya and Hinamori have reached that point. So I did take 2 points off for it, and that ultimately does leave this episode with an 8 out of 10 ranking. All right, so now that we know that it's an 8 out of 10, our mostly objective ranking so far has Flash Goddess Yoruichi Dances, The Despicable Shinigami, Ishida, The Utmost Limits of Power, Overcome Your Limits. This episode, The Avengers, comes in 5th, followed by Authentic Records, School of Shinigami. Now for my personal ranking, I did enjoy the episode. I thought it was entertaining. There was some battle scenes. The political intrigue of it would be great if I didn't already know the outcome because it was a rewatch, but like upon the first watch, definitely compelling political side of things. But as I mentioned in the mostly objective ranking, that blind loyalty, that blindness to faults and flaws, the blindness to reality is so freaking frustrating. Like, it is so difficult to get past the frustration with these behaviors. And like poor Kira, he was like put in prison, then he's let out legitimately, like just following his captain, and then all of a sudden Hitsugaya is there like, oh, you broke out of prison, blah 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 blah. Like, oh my goodness. He shouldn't even have been there. He was just defending his captain against a crazy person. And yes, Hinamori at this point is crazy. She has lost all reason, all logic, all ability to think. Like, she needs therapy. She needs to be put in a padded cell somewhere, sat down with by some sort of professional, and talked to because she is off the freaking rails. And it is so frustrating to watch. Completely. And then Hitsugaya like enabling her instead of helping her. It is frustrating. But also I understand for plot reasons why it exists there. And it is entertaining, if not very frustrating. And then we got a little bit of insight into Matsumoto and Gin's past, as well as we learned more about Urahara, and also got to see Ichigo's training, and also some lighter content with the hot springs healing properties, and Ichigo having a rest after training, with Yoruichi, who is still having fun switching between being a cat and being a person. So overall, because I understand the purpose of it and there were some lighter moments and it was entertaining, I gave it a 6 out of 10. And the reason it is down at a 6 instead of anything higher is purely because of my frustration with Hitsugaya and Hinamori as characters right now. And I think they get better. At least Hitsugaya I know gets better, but Hinamori I don't even know if she does or not, but I'm frustrated as I'm watching, and if it brings about negative emotions where they don't necessarily need to exist, I'm taking points. Which means our list so far has Ishida, the utmost limits of power in first, the despicable Shinigami, Flash Goddess Yoruichi Dances. This episode comes in 4th, The Avengers, followed by Authentic Records, School of Shinigami, and then in 6th place, Overcome Your Limits. And then we come to our series ranking so far. Mostly objective ranking, Agents of the Shinigami arc is in 1st, Soul Society the Sneak Entry arc in 2nd, and this arc, Soul Society the Rescue arc, is at 52 out of a possible 220 so far. On our personal ranking side, Agents of the Shinigami arc also in 1st, Soul Society the Sneak Entry arc in 2nd, and then in 3rd, or rather not yet placed, we have Soul Society The Rescue arc with a score of 38 out of a possible 220. But with that, we have now rewatched and ranked Bleach Soul Society The Rescue arc, episode 47, The Avengers. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.